What's up, my friends? I was in Walmart the other day when I came across this thing. This is the Surf by On, which is a Walmart brand. I really like the branding that Walmart's doing with the On brand. I think it's pretty classy, and they're starting to make some pretty decent products. And so I saw this, and it says that it is a USB podcast microphone. And I thought to myself, okay, well, you can't do a USB podcast microphone for $25. That's not how USB microphones work. That's not how podcasting microphones work. So I thought, I have to try this, just to try and see what kind of sound quality you can get out of this microphone. Now, the microphone I'm using is a Rode PodMic, which is definitely a podcasting microphone. It's supposed to be kind of like the entry level. It's definitely a pretty high quality microphone. Now, my setup here with the PodMic is about $250 because I'm running it to a Scarlett 2i4, which I bought used for about $150. So definitely a big price difference between this Rode PodMic and the Surf On. But I thought I might as well try it. So I have a number of tests that I want to run it through, and I actually have the Walmart microphone right here. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is the build quality, which it feels substantial. You have kind of it's a metal mesh right there, but this is actually plastic. It kind of looks metal when you compare it to, the Rode mic, but it's definitely plastic, and it's not even like an attractive plastic, honestly, when you look pretty closely at it. It's supposed to kind of get like this brushed metal look, but it definitely, or kind of like a sandblasted metal look, but it definitely just comes across as like this ugly bluish gray tint. Now, you can unscrew the bottom of this, if I can do it. And this is a nice feature. So if you have an extra camera tripod, you can actually unscrew the bottom of this, and you can screw that into the tripod, which is very nice. Or at least I found that useful. It doesn't go to a microphone stand though, so I don't know what you're going to find that's going to be compatible where this is going to be your best option as far as what to set on a camera tripod. So that doesn't make very much sense to me, but I put it on a monopod the other day, and I was able to bring it closer to my face, which was good. It runs from a micro USB to a USB-A 2.0 port, which makes sense. It's a microphone. USB 2.0 does the trick. So build quality is just overall okay. I mean, it's a $25 microphone, so I would expect plastic. If I was seeing metal and the build quality was super, super phenomenal, I'd be concerned about them cheaping out on the actual insides, which we'll get to. And then the last little bit is that this is an on and off switch. So it's just it just mutes it, right? So what I see this for is not actually for podcasting. I see it mainly for video conferencing, and you'll see why when we get into the tests. And so this is actually really handy because it's faster than switching the mute on Zoom on and off, or on Google Hangouts, or whatever it is that you're doing. So I think switching that button on and off is going to be much more handy. But anyway, I've got it hooked up. Let's go ahead and run a couple of tests now. The first thing is, I imagine that this is a desk mount, which means that it's not going to, it's a desk stand, right? And so it's not going to be close to your mouth. It's going to be kind of farther away. Whereas very clearly here with the PodMic, that's a lot closer to my mouth. And so we can get kind of this isolation. I'm pretty sure this is a cardioid microphone. I could be wrong about that, but I think that this is, it's a cardioid unidirectional recording pattern. And so this is going to pick up a lot more of what's around the room than what this is, right? This is a dynamic microphone, which basically all that means is it's picking up sound directly in front of it, right? And things that are close to it. Whereas this is going to pick up a lot more ambient room noise. And we're going to do a noise floor test here in just a little bit. But just so you know, those are some of the differences between these two microphones. In addition to this one being 4 times as expensive, this is an all metal body, everything like that. Very, very different in terms of build quality. And so the first test I want to do has to deal with placing it on the desk out in front of you. So I have this probably about 18 inches away from my face now. And I'm going to switch from my PodMic. All right, and now we have the surf on microphone. So immediately you can hear that because of the distance, number one, you can hear that there's this large range of difference between the pod mic and the surf on. Now I actually have heater vents that are going, you know, I have my HVAC and it's on right now. So it is going to pick up a little bit more noise than if that wasn't on. My kids are sleeping and my wife is asleep, and so you know, I imagine this is actually a pretty normal noise floor. You have my computer that's running in the background. And so this is probably about the ambient noise that you would hear. So here's the noise floor of it, about 18 inches away from my face, full gain. All right, and then this is the noise floor of the pod mic, full gain. Pretty significant difference there. So like I said, I imagine this is kind of a video conferencing thing. You'll notice, you know, I can move this away and out of the frame, right? And that makes a lot more sense if you're doing something like a video conferencing call or something like that. This makes a lot more sense because it's out of the way. I can have more hand gestures and it's not quite as distracting as if this is in the way, right? And so that's how I imagine using it. Now, let's say that you did have a stand, right? One of the benefits of this microphone is that you put it on a stand and you bring it really close to your face. And that's actually how we get this effect of it being really picking up on kind of the nuance of the voice, is that it's very close to the face, so it doesn't have to pick up as much noise, right? The noise floor is lower because it's actually just being less sensitive. So one of the other things that I wanted to test with this microphone is I'm going to bring this down a little bit below, I'd say probably about a third capacity, and I'm going to bring this mic a lot closer to my face. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my pod mic, and this is now what the Walmart microphone sounds like. Now, I might have to boost this because I'm not 100% certain of the audio quality or the audio levels, but you can tell that this definitely picks up a much better sound quality. Now this, you can hear the noise floor on this one now. Basically nothing, right? And so this actually isn't a bad option if this is the way you want to hold the microphone, is up closer to your face. You know, you could probably get a stand and move this thing closer to your microphone, and that or closer to your mouth, and that would be helpful. But I just don't imagine that very many people are going to spend $25 on a microphone and then go out and buy a $25 stand that they can clamp to their desk or put on their desk and then modify in some way so this can be closer to their mouth. But you can tell that actually once you bring it closer to your face, this microphone is actually pretty good, you know, and I'm kind of a fan. All right, so another thing I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about how this thing handles noise rejection. So when I talk about noise rejection, I'm talking about tapping on the desk, typing, and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start typing over here on my keyboard. It's actually a very spongy keyboard, and so that's pretty quiet as far as keyboards go. I'll tap on the desk a few times, and then I'm going to tap on the microphone. See if we can get some sort of resonance there. Okay, so that's enough for testing the microphone itself. Now I want to talk a little bit about ease of use, because one of the difficult things about this microphone that I'm using right now, this pod mic, is that I have to run an XLR cable from the microphone to the interface, and then from the interface to my computer, and then you have to buy this, right? And so it's like, not only is it more expensive, but it's also more complicated, right? And sometimes fancier microphones, specifically if they're condenser microphones, are going to require like phantom power, and it's going to take some more technical know-how. Whereas the Walmart microphone was just plug and play. I didn't have to install any drivers or anything like that. The downside is that it doesn't come with any software. It doesn't come with a gain knob. So if you wanted to move it closer to your face, you'd have to figure out a way to edit the volume inside whatever conferencing software that you're using, which isn't super practical, right? And so, you know, if you're a streamer, let's say you're a streamer and you have a setup like this, that might make a little bit more sense. But if you're going to be a streamer, I wouldn't spend $25 on this microphone in the first place. So again, I think the best use case for this $25 microphone is video conferencing. I think that would probably be the number one thing, or education, right? The speakers that you have inside your computer often aren't very good. The speakers that you have, or the microphones that you have inside your computers often aren't very good. Inside your phone isn't very good. And so this is probably a step up. It's not much of a step up from what you have built into your computer, but it is a step up. It's a nice, handy microphone to have as an extra mic. And when I teach for a living. Part of what I do is I teach for a living. And when I go teach, having this set up in the room to capture sound at a more sensitive rate than some of the other microphones that are like built into the computer is nifty to have. And so that's what I'm going to be primarily using this for, is for teaching, right? Zoom teaching and things like that. So would I recommend it? Yeah, I think it's nice to have around. If you got $25 to spend on an extra microphone, yeah, go ahead and do it. Or if this is your first microphone, it's not a bad first microphone to have. Like I said, you can hold it closer to your face, and that would help in terms of the audio quality. But it's not great. This isn't any sort of groundbreaking device or anything like that, but it's not too bad, So I'm a fan overall. I'm definitely keeping it. I'm not returning this. I thought I was going to return it because I just thought to myself, podcasting microphone, right? And that's not going to happen. But, honestly, if you can get it closer to your face, I could see this being a pretty legitimate podcasting microphone. You'll want to play with the levels and stuff like that. But I think it would be pretty good for that. Again, like I said, I think it's going to be mainly useful for something like Zoom meetings, but you never know. Go ahead and pick one up and let me know what you think. If I missed anything in this review, go ahead and let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next video.